Fintown started raising funds for its development project, The Seed in Costa Rica. I recently spoke with the CEO Maxim Vihorev, who will be primarily responsible for the new venture's success. The platform offers a 15% interest rate over 24 months. That's a much higher yield than what you get on some of the most popular P2P lending platforms, which is why in this video we will dive deeper into this investment opportunity and discuss risks that you should be aware of. Offering an investment in real estate development in Costa Rica may seem strange for most investors, particularly on a platform specializing in developing rental properties in Prague. So let's hear what Maxim has to say about that.
Actually, I'm looking on Costa Rica from year 2020, when I first time read about Philip Costa Rica villas. Yes, when there was COVID times, Costa Rica was one of the countries that has the easiest measures in regards of COVID. And there was this wonderful information about like Costa Rica itself, all the possibilities it allow. And I found Philip's like villas there. He has just built them. It was year 2020 when he first finished one part of his villas that he built there. So actually I'm looking to Costa Rica for quite like a long time. So what is interesting from our part, like what like in the guts of Costa Rica? Costa Rica is really very interesting country in regards its stability, like democratic stability. For the 75 years there was no like revolution or some kind of any, so it's like really stable country, one of the oldest democracy in whole Latin America. It has like the biggest gramercy in regards of education, so people are like really educated there. There is a rule of law almost same like in Europe in regards of bribery and all of this stuff. It's absolutely not like other countries in Latin America. It's surrounded by Nicaragua, Panama, that are not so progressive as Costa Rica. And one of also most like interesting part of it, why I like it very much, in regards of investments, almost 70% of investment, direct investments coming to Costa Rica are US investments. Yes, only 20% is European and 10% something else. And for me, it was always very interesting to enter somehow US market. But from what part, you know? So I didn't want to deal with like exactly like US as a tools, and to combine this vacational property and US market, because the buyer in Costa Rica is American. Yes, so when I've been there in July, when I was on the spot, we checked all of the details. So everywhere, everything that is built there now is built like 70-80% for US citizens, because they're buying it as a second and third home. And for me, it was always interesting to deal with US market like this, and Costa Rica in that way is. So there is combination of factors. So I really liked everything that Philip does. Yes, the way he approaches the things that he do, his local knowledge of everything, because it's one of the most important like points for me to think about it, with whom we will be dealing, because we need local knowledge. It's one of the most important stuff. We have our development experience that we bring to the table, but we have to combine it with all the local things that will be around.
During our discussion, Maxim also mentioned that Costa Rica is now becoming a favorite spot for US citizens moving out of the States or looking for a second or third home. Additionally, Costa Rica attracts many tourists from the US and Canada, particularly during winter. The project in Costa Rica won't be just a new venture for the Vihorev Group. The company is partnering with Philip Jacques, who sold his company to move to Costa Rica a few years ago, where he built his boutique vacation resort. While Vihorev will bring the development experience, Philip will help navigate the local environment, as he has already built his project close by and is familiar with the local procedures. Unlike most development projects on other platforms, Fintown shares additional details and project stages. In the first stage, Fintown is raising funds from investors to finance the land acquisition. In total, Fintown is aiming to raise 1.5 million euro from retail investors. Vihorev Investments will invest a minimum of 500,000 to secure the project. The price per square meter has been reserved several years ago at the more favorable terms, which lowers the risk for investors. Maxim will fly to Costa Rica at the end of February to pay for the land and register the first-rank mortgage. The land will be owned by Propco Uvita LLC, which is a local SPV. 90% of this company is owned by Maxim himself, while Philip Jacques owns 10%. More details for investors are outlined in the memorandum, which is available for registered users on Fintown or in our dedicated article about the Seed project in our Academy section on P2P Empire. After securing the land, the project moves into the second stage, which covers the project and construction preparation. The project features 75 units, including townhouses, villas, studio apartments, and jungle cabins, all distributed across 3 phases. With the project documentation already pre-approved by government authorities, this stage will focus on obtaining the necessary construction permits and finalizing the preparation for the building, including a clear and comprehensive evaluation of construction costs. This process should take until the end of the year. As soon as the preparation is complete, the listing price of future units will be revealed and Vihorev will begin with the pre-sales. At this point, Maxim and Philip will enhance the legal structure of the project by including a US registered entity.
So we will have also in future for other phases, I suppose, something like a US company for the international capital to flow in, because it's quite big project, and at this stage we are not exactly planning to have bank, because we have not worked with banks there. Of course, we will start talking to them, but I cannot rely on this immediately because I know how banks work. We'll have to make at least like one project like in this way, like running for the bank to participate.
The majority of the funds for the first 2 stages of the seed will be raised from retail investors and Vihorev investments. The project also aims to attract equity investors who wish to invest at least $1 million. The pre-sale of the units will secure additional capital, which will help complete the final stage of the project. The construction is expected to begin at the beginning of the next year, and it should last at least 2 years. For Fintown investors, it's important to note that the units of the seed project will be sold. There won't be future investments in rental units like it's the case with the currently operational rental properties in Karlin and Zriceni. Fintown investors will, however, receive early bird pre-sales offers for those who wish to become owners and rent the property when they are not there. Investing in development in Costa Rica is definitely not risk-free, so let's hear how Maxim evaluates the risks. So there is quite a bit of risk involved in this as well, right? Because you don't know exactly how much money you will be able to raise in which time period, right?
No, it's not like this. You have to understand how I see it in regards of or how I would see it if I would be an investor. So it's very important what is going on in every stage of development, yes? So first we acquire the land. We know that this land is like cheaper than it like really has to have. So it's first stage. So there is like minimum risk. You have something that has like bigger value. Then there is second stage. Second stage in actually getting construction permit. Construction permits evolves the price or pushes the price somewhere else again. So there is another phase of value creation. And the price will go much more higher than the costs related to this preliminary stage. Then there is a third stage when you have the construction. And with every part of the construction, you're also bringing all the time like value up. So if you do it like this, so normally the value of what you do, like real value, will be always higher than the costs that you put in it. So this is the main part, and what is everybody normally has to be like interested in. If something happens, so where are our money actually? They have to be somewhere, you know? And that is the main thing, because you have to have something to be able to sell. Because what is the worst part that happens like with developers that we've seen like that has issues like all over the world is normally that money are somewhere else, or the value of the assets is like actually much more less than the money that was involved. So some part of money just like disappeared somewhere. So that is like the biggest issue, like normal. But if all the money and invested in more value creation, then value creation will be always per more higher than the cost, and there is always a possibility, crazy but possibility, to sell it off, to do something, to refinance it, to attract some other like investor or anything, because there are like a lot of money all around. The thing is how, well, like on what terms are you able to attract this money, you know? So there always has to be value behind it, and that is the main part of also for investors to understand. But anyway, we are dividing now in 3 main phases, and every investor is free to like say, okay, but I do not want to be involved in construction phase. I want to. Not a problem. Actually, he's able to exit and not an issue. So somebody else will come on his place in regards of this.
So if the money is allocated correctly, the property's value should always be higher than the costs. During our interview, Maxim also promised to share regular reports with investors, including a breakdown of how the funds raised were spent. Do you plan to release some sort of documents about the costs of every phase so investors can have an overview of how much has been funded and how much has been spent?
We will actually publish, I suppose, almost every information, because once we have this kind of information ready, we will publish it. So I don't see any reason not to show the investors how much everything costs. We will have all the financial plans and so on, details, the cash flow plan, and so everybody will be able to look at it. And of course, the costs, how we proceed with the costs that we assumed and so on. So all the financial part will be always available, and we will publish it in I don't know, every quarter, every 6 months. There will be nothing that we will be hiding of something. There is no reason for that.
We barely see other platforms that finance development loans share financial breakdowns of their projects, so this could be interesting information for investors who wish to learn more about real estate development. However, despite Vihorev's flawless track record, certain risks may materialize during the development process, outlined in our project evaluation, which I will link below. In my opinion, there are two risk categories that will need Vihorev's close attention. It's the company's first project in Costa Rica, where they created efficient systems for developing and managing properties in Prague. There will undoubtedly be differences and lessons to be learned in Costa Rica. Maxim informed me that Vihorev will have a dedicated project manager on site to ensure the development costs are aligned with the expectations. During our talk, Maxim shared with me that he wants to create an economically viable project that meets the highest standards. He will need to rely on Philip Jacques' experience and local knowledge to succeed. Local engineers and law firms will also support the project to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements. Another risk to consider will be the financial risk. Unlike in the Czech Republic, where Vihorev uses affordable capital from banks to finance the majority of his development projects, in Costa Rica, the company will be investing more equity. It will also rely even more on Fintown investors, particularly in the early stages of the project. The long term is set for 24 months, meaning that the funds from investors who will exit in 2 years will need to be refinanced. Maxim will need to be on track with the construction of the seat and fulfill all promises to secure additional funding. So far, he has always been able to find funds for its real estate properties in Prague. However, the financing in Costa Rica may unveil yet unknown challenges. Personally, I think that the seed project can succeed. The prerequisite is certainly there. Also, if they were not to succeed, Maxim risks his reputation and potentially further funding for his real estate properties in the Czech Republic. It would not be wise to jeopardize Fintown as a funding source, which is why I believe that he will do his best to ensure the project's success. If you want to earn high yields on Fintown, this may be just one of the few opportunities, as we won't expect this type of yield for future projects in Prague. The interest rates from local banks decreased over the past year, so Vihorev has access to cheaper financing in the Czech Republic. If you're curious about the platform's plans in Czechia for this year, make sure to subscribe, as we will release another video highlighting the upcoming changes for 2025. If you want to get additional information about the seed project, you can learn more about it on P2P Empire. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe to not miss out on future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.